That time of the year, of course, to pull your athletic way out of your closet. The Mandela Day Houghton Walk and Run is back again. The 8-kilometer race is taking place tomorrow, and that's ahead of Mandela Day, of course, which is on Monday. I'm told tickets are selling fast, so I would advise that you get yours because this is quite an event. To tell us about the race, we have in studio Gashwell Brooks, who is the head of Mandela Day at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, somebody who is having the busiest of times at the moment. A very good morning to you, Gashwell. Thank you for joining us. So,
good morning, Marina.
Let's just talk about the Houghton Walk and Run itself. Of course, it is 8 kilometers. Is that the only distance that there is available?
It's 8 kilometers. The reason for that, it's the very same route that Mr. Nelson Mandela, Madiba, as we know him affectionately as, used to walk within the Houghton area, within his residential area. So it's to replicate that, and you know, the two areas that stand out the most is obviously passing the foundation itself, as well as Sanctuary Mandela, which was his former residence.
Tickets are selling fast. How many have we sold? How many are available?
Look, at this stage, all I can tell you is that they're selling fast. So people need to get on Ticket Pro very quickly and get their tickets so that they are able to participate in this. I think that the most important thing is it's an entire experience, you know. It's not just an 8-kilometer walk. Ladysmith Black Mambazo will be joining the walk as well. And as they are walking, they will be doing their thing, you know, singing along. And you know, it's going to be great fun. It's a community event. And I think post-COVID, post the pandemic, this is the perfect opportunity for us to have that sense of community once more again.
Talk to us about the kinds of personalities outside of Ladysmith Black Mambazo who are going to be taking part in this, because, I mean, you need not do much advertising. You need not do much encouraging when you speak of data. You just say Mandela Day, Houghton Walk and Run, and everybody wants to jump to get involved in anything that has to do with our former great statesman.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with mentioning, you know, the personalities that will be there is always the difficulty of who do you include and who do you leave out. I think that the most important aspect of it is that, you know, people are able to participate in this particular event, and then on top of it, there's a concert later in the evening that Ladysmith Black Mambazo will also be performing at the Joburg Theatre. And tickets are also selling fast for that one. But, you know, this is that opportunity for people to get out and to participate, be part of the community again, and do something in celebration of Nelson Mandela Day, because I think it's a day of great responsibility. You know, Mandela, I mean, as the head of Mandela Day, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it's a day of heavy responsibility. But I think the 17th gives people an opportunity to let out some steam. And in such a nice way, in such a, you know, glorious way. And those 8 kilometers, you can walk them, you can run them. It's up to you. You know, I'm taking my spouse and my 3 children along, and we're definitely going to be enjoying that walk.
You mentioned something very important, letting off some steam. If there's one thing South Africans have had built up for the last 2 years, I mean, we've got steam built up for 28 years, but if there's one thing we've had built up for the last 2 years, is a lot of steam, a lot of frustration, a lot that we need to let out. Speak to me about the importance of all the restrictions being done away with just in time for Tata's Day.
You know, I mean, I think it's significant. And then, you know, talking about the fact that, you know, so much pressure is built up. I mean, we're just coming out of a pandemic. A year ago, you know, we were busy covering horrible looting and civil unrest within, you know, spread throughout Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal in particular. I mean, you look at the unemployment numbers, you know, you hope and pray that the lights stay on, don't you, these days? So I think there's a lot of reasons for people to be very upset. And I think you can see the increased stress levels. And this is, I mean, just that opportunity on a sort of a, and that's a beautiful thing about a high-felt winter, isn't it, in Johannesburg, is that it's quite chilly in the morning, you know, it's fresh. And then, as you can see, the sun is out and it's quite nice and warm and comfortable outside. And that's what people have to look forward to tomorrow. And that, I think, is such an opportunity for us to start rebuilding that sense of community, particularly in the name of Tata.
One of the things he had always been known mostly for is reconciliation, unity. Those were things that essentially, when you mention the name Nelson Mandela, you think unity. Perhaps the first question I should have asked is, why is there the Houghton Walk and Run? You know, where did the idea for it come from? Besides, of course, the walking of the route that I did.
I mean, that for me is key. It's almost the central pillar. You know, it's that walk that he took. He believed in physical exercise, and he believed that, you know, it helps not just with the body, but it actually helps with the mind, number one. Number two, it gives so many sectors and so many different people within society an opportunity to interact with each other. And let's be honest, I mean, Johannesburg is by far the largest city probably in the Southern Hemisphere, or one of the largest in the Southern Hemisphere at the very minimum. But the key issue is that we sort of live in these bubbled, very separate lives from each other. You know, I go about my day, you go about your day, and we hardly ever interact with each other. And this is an opportunity for us to slow down, to take a deep breath, and for people to be able to interact with each other, find out about the person that you probably didn't even know was your neighbor. Interact with them, have a chat with them. It's 8 kilometers, it's quite a distance. The vast majority of people will be walking at a leisurely pace. And the one thing that you would definitely want to do is to find out, you know, who's this person walking next to you and what's interesting about them. And that is how we get through the process of social cohesion, getting to know each other, of course.
Not everybody, you know, is all about social cohesion. There are going to be those people who understand that it's about Nelson Mandela Day, but are going to feel, you know, inconvenienced that there are people just filling the streets where I operate. So essentially what I'm asking is, what is the preparation for it? What is it that you guys have done in terms of like the blockage of roads, if really it's been necessary? Just for those that are watching and thinking, oh God, I'm not going to be able to navigate my street. I'm not going to be able to navigate my neighborhood to get in and out of where I need to go.
I think that the great thing about it is people have been notified in advance for one thing. The second thing is obviously to making sure that the necessary marshals and assistants are there, including law enforcement as well. And I think also all credit is due to the community of Houghton, is that people are aware that this was Tata's residential area within Johannesburg. The great thing is that the community themselves get involved in this. So it's not one of those situations where, you know, there are angry calls coming in, you know, my house is blocked, my gate is blocked, etc. People make the necessary arrangements. If they know, from 7 o'clock onwards, that's when things are going to get busy, that's when things are going to be cordoned off, that's when people go about their business already, leave the home, and you know, if they're not participating. So there's a great sense of community. You know, there's been no complaints, there's been no anger around this particular issue, because I think people understand what is the significance of it. And, you know, for me, the one thing that's amazing about this Mandela Day, as well as the annual lecture coming up, is how all of this is tying together towards not just 67 minutes, a brief stint on the day or the day before, the day after, but much rather something that's sustainable and carries through, something that, spoke to the guests that were just here before us, you know, the floods in KwaZulu-Natal, for example, looking at global climate change, looking at food security, and making sure that we have sustainable solutions into the future.
The day that is of great focus for you as the head of Mandela Day is Monday. You were saying to me, in fact, off air now, that you're going to be jetting off once all of today's activities are done and heading down to
tomorrow's activities.
Yeah, tomorrow's activities. Yes, you're right. Heading down to the former head of state's home province, of course, which is the Eastern Cape. There's a lot that's going to be happening down there, as is the case every year. Speak to us about what South Africans can expect to come out of perhaps not just only the Eastern Cape, but just Mandela Day activities across the board.
Thanks, and I think that's a stunning sort of summation of it all, isn't it? Because what it all boils down to is that we're rolling out and we're resourcing community gardens and home-based gardens throughout all 9 provinces. We'll just be in Gqeberha on the 18th of July on Mandela Day. Apart from that, we're also planting trees. We have a very ambitious target of planting 1 million trees between now and next year at the same time. And the whole idea behind it is 2 things, where global climate change as well as food insecurity intersect. Surprisingly, 1 in 4 South Africans are food insecure, and that is deeply concerning. And trees are a great source of food, aren't they? Rolling out those community gardens, making sure that people are able to plant their own food, grow that food, feed their community, and if they have excess, then sell it off. And that excess produce that they've sold off is what finances people's educations, places to live, etc., etc. So these are some of the things, Morena, that we're trying to accomplish. And what we're trying to really inculcate is the sense that it's not just about the 18th of July. It's an ongoing process, and we need to start looking for sustainable solutions. And everyone is welcome: civil society, business, government, ordinary citizens.
I mean, it's 1 million trees that you want planted in 12 months. It's going to require an entire nation. So
all hands on deck.
All hands on deck, definitely. Gashwal, we'll leave it there with you. Thank you so much for joining us and just letting us in on what's going to be happening for the next couple of days. We're going to be leaving there with you for today. That is the head of Mandela Day from the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Gashwal Brooks. Of course, they want 1 million trees planted in the next 12 months, so you definitely can get involved in that. But I think the important thing to take from this interview is that Mandela Day is not on the 18th of July. Mandela Day is today, it's tomorrow, it's Tuesday, and it's every other day of the year. So just get involved and play your part in ensuring that the former head of state's dreams and ambitions and what it is he wanted to see in the world, come to fruition. To this now.